Greetings, sending all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body Culinary, aka Kwasapeacefull Eating, and peaceful eating, and it is Saturday evening. So I thought I would come in to respond to a subscriber. So shout out to Mindful Nicole, as well as some of the new subscribers. Welcome to my channel. Saturday night, grab your tea or your song or um, whatever herbal concoction you have, and I'm gonna respond to something from herbs. Let me get my little notebook. So I have some things to get to, but I was like, let me make a little time. Let me make a little time to respond to Miss Nicole. Her video about if she was to get a BBL. Okay. And you tagged me, so let's do a little call and response. I'm going to respond to this BBL. Check out Mindful Nicole. She's one of the subscribers here. She is a mother and loves being a mother. That is something that is beautiful to see children that are welcomed in on this side. That's very, very intentional. So I'm going to address that. I'm a mother too. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm Body Culinary Professional Chef with a focus on whole fresh living with unprocessed food. Right? Instead of getting processing, why don't you do it so you know exactly what's in your food? And yes, you may be thinking I don't have a lot of time, but it's worth it. It is so, so, so worth it. Right? So I'm a professional chef, a personal trainer. I've been in healthy eating and fitness in the industry for over 35 years. So I'm used to dating myself. But that's quite fine. On this channel, I share some of my journey of radical self-acceptance, and what that looks like and what that has looked like for me is really embracing and being creative with the features that I have been divinely assigned. Now, that being said, I'm not anti makeup because just like any other woman, I like barrettes and flowers and curls and scents and bows and stuff like that. That's one aspect of femininity that I enjoy a lot. I enjoy creativity, and it's not for any of us to restrict or to police each other's process or where we are on our journey or our creativity. At the same time, I'm someone that's had a lot of acne and a lot of hyperpigmentation for many years, even as someone that was eating very healthily and juicing since like the early 90s, right? And so it took years for me to get to the roots of what was really what kept the cycle of acne going. And it was a lot of money and a lot of frustration working in a very visible occupation like personal training with a lot of high-end clients. You know, that was really, really uncomfortable. I don't like to wear a lot of makeup. I've been in professions where I've had to wear a lot of makeup. When I used to work in the travel industry many years ago, for years as a flight attendant, I would have to, especially on international flights, I would have to reapply makeup so often, right? That was part of the job. So wearing heels and makeup, I was like, when I leave this job, I don't want to wear heels and makeup because being on these long hauls overseas to Israel and to Saudi Arabia and to Greece and to Croatia, like I would go through these different time zones and temperatures, and I would keep reapplying. I felt I had plastic on my face. I'm sure they did not uh, help my skin clear up. In addition to all of the vegetarian salty, preserved foods I was eating. I was looking like a puffer fish. So, all I say, I'm very intentional about enjoying my own hair and skin. When you've had a lot of acne, then it's a sigh of relief to not have to worry about hyperpigmentation. I'm also sit in humility that I know I'm going to age, even with living foods and a daily movement practice. That's a part of the process of life. So I'm intentional about embracing it. I'm no better or less than the next woman. You know, everyone has their insecurities. So I am quite intentional about enjoying myself inside of my human suit. So radical self-acceptance is something that I practice. I have returned to natural for decades. I did not intend on getting locks. In my travels, my hair locked on its own. And so as somebody that was, was acquiring a little bit of length with high shrinkage with very, very fine hair, my hair would lock in some of my travels. I was staying in the bush for an extended period of time. My hair kept locking. I was trying to pick it out with a safety pin, and I was really ripping the hair out. I didn't have access to any kind of product at one point when I was traveling. And so after a while, I was like, why am I fighting it? Let's see what the hair does. I've had it super duper short. I've shaved it bald. I've had double strand twists. I've had really beautiful $100 and something cornrows. I was like, I can always cut it back off because I actually enjoyed my hair really, really short. So I feel confident that if my hairline is ever looking like Bozo the Clown, it's coming off. I will chop it off in a second. I'll cut some designs in it, and I'll embrace it because um, I just, to me, in my perspective, that is a lot of unnecessary separation. And I've not get to this point of life to be suffering to look a certain kind of way to other people, to strangers. I can't imagine putting actual glue on my scalp or gluing a stocking cap to my scalp and gluing other stuff. I don't think I could breathe. I think I would be claustrophobic. I don't prefer a look that looks really artificial and unnatural. It just, that's really uncomfortable to me. And I'm not doing that, not for nobody, not for Jesus, not for my mother, not for my man, not for, I am not doing that. This is what it is. So on this channel, I share some of my journey of radical self-acceptance. I also encourage 3 what I will call leverage lifestyle practices, right? Leverage because they are practices that you have access to, and which is really important to know, right? And I'm saying, especially as a woman, as someone that was a young mom, a single, not that young, I was 22, so I wasn't 16 or 14 like some of my homies back in the day. But I do understand how important it is to have support and tangible support. And practices will serve you. As my godmother said to me, who gave me so many gems, your practices, these very practical practices, I would consider them spiritual practices, right? And they will serve you forever until your children are off and gone, whether you're single or in a relationship, and they are peaceful consumption, a daily personal movement practice, and garden/nature therapy. These are deeply therapeutic practices that are self-administered. So you're not necessarily reliant on a therapist, right? I'm not a therapist or a medical doctor. I have no interest in being those. These are things in therapy you can apply to yourself that is so important. So you know you have the capability to treat yourself and pamper yourself, other than just throwing some after bath splash or some artificial scents on, right? This is different. It's not, there's some huge distinctions, and I love distinctions. So being able to administer therapy to yourself is so critical. Years ago, decades ago, I remember, I'm a food and nutrition and fitness nerd. I remember studying years ago and learning that exercise is just as effective, can be just as effective as psychotherapy. That really stood out in my mind watching so many people in my community and in my family really dealing with using narcotics, weed, alcohol, food, junk food, in order to escape reality, in order to self-soothe. I recognized that that was not therapy. You know, the temporary feeling of pleasure in your mouth, you know, it's limited, right? And it's a bottomless pit. And I saw the results of that in terms of morbid obesity. Morbid obesity, I didn't know what morbid obesity was when I was a little girl, but I saw the results. So I'm an observer of patterns and habits, and I'm fascinated by self-sabotage as well as self-actualization. So just to numb it out of food, I knew that wasn't going to be enough. But it sent me on a trajectory of seeking out what I could do to make myself feel better, what I could do so that my trajectory would not be one where I would have to administer needles to myself every day. I was like, I don't want to do that. So what are my alternatives? Greetings, Carolyn. You're here all the time. I'm consistently sending to one positive vibration. So peaceful consumption, food that demonstrates that it loves you back. That means consumption patterns where your food or your fuel is kind to your arteries, it's kind to your skin, it's kind to your heart. You don't have sticks put in your heart to prop the valves open, right? It's kind to your blood pressure, it's kind to your mood, right? So I love to organize things in my brain in such a way where it's like, okay, that's simple, that's a no-brainer. It's such a learning curve short now, right? How your approach and your perspective. As a matter of fact, that's one of the reasons to invest in a coach, to be quite honest. And, you know, I've had this conversation and this communication with several women in my circle. And this season and moving forward, I think it's really important, critical. I don't tell grown folks what to do, especially grown folks that are not paying me, right? Because I realize folks at a certain level of accomplishment, they get the value in having folks to have them get uncomfortable out of their comfort zone and to give them honest feedback. That's really valuable. So hopefully you have someone in your circle of influence who you give permission to give you honest feedback, not just to blow smoke up your nose into a sewage or appease your ego. Because that's not beneficial for people just to tell you things that you like all the time. And I'm not talking about being verbally abusive because I do see a lot of that on the internet, and that's not my thing either. I don't care if we come from the same background or whatever. I can discern abuse and negativity if somebody just trying to get a rise out of me. So, in any event, just coaching, I recommend, or it would be beneficial, let me put it that way, for folks to prioritize coaching when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your health and fitness, and when it comes to your mental, emotional health. I would say reorganize in your brain and put it in your budget as a non-negotiable, not when you get old, not when you're retired, right? Because by the time if you put a lot of your, like the tangible self-care, not just the perfume and the closet full of clothes, if you put off your self-care, right? And that's going to show up in some specific numbers. It's going to cost you so much more, not in terms of, not just only in terms of money, but in terms of your quality of life. It's going to be much more expensive to scramble once you decide to get pregnant. If you haven't already, if you decide to be a responsible steward, a volunteer position of a parent, if you decide to do that and you haven't already invested in your health and made really poignant, really careful decisions around who you're deciding to parent with, right? Where there's a mutual agreement and a commitment that you would like to be parenting together. And that after you've handled a lot of your own personal stuff, so you don't give that child, that little human, a fighting chance, right? You want to get yourself in order way before. If you know you would like to parent, already start with preparing your body, yourself, have memory, right? So that you give your offspring a chance at excellence in terms of just your physical constitution, right? The building blocks of your body, right? These little humans, they're a cake with ingredients, half of it coming from the mother and the father. So you want totally like weeded out, alcoholed out, undisciplined, overusing reproductive organs, no intellectual or emotional intelligence, no sunshine, no exercise. Like, what is the quality of what you're choosing to bring forth onto this side? These little human beings deserve a fighting chance. They're coming out of the gate with autism, emotional problems, or emotional challenges. The ingredients are not on par, are lacking. They're coming out with deficits. And it's because we're not being very choosy or picky, or not choosing thinking long term. So in any event, you also don't want to wait until an accident or until you get the diagnosis. If you know that you're unhealthily overweight, and I've had people that I've coached that have been over 300 pounds, and that's not 300 pounds of muscle or lean mass. To me, I'm not that concerned about what the weight is on the scale. I'm more concerned about excess adipose tissue, performance, and vitality, right? That's giving more of a clear distinction of what's the quality of that weight. If you're ripped and you can run, jump, play, kick, punch, do you care what the scale says? No, you don't, right? And actually the scale and the BMI figures are usually skewed for people that are very athletic and muscular, right? So this body's a business, like to put it into a context. All right, so we have peaceful consumption, a daily personal movement practice, and garden/nature therapy. Again, deep therapy, right? We're in an environment today of triggeration. We're often really triggered. Most of the time, as soon as we turn off your screens, we start comparing ourselves to other people, looking at what they have, what we think they have, sometimes feeling sad or not feeling worthy, because in the subconscious, we're comparing ourselves to others. We're comparing our hair to their hair, which it can never be, our skin to their skin, our age to their age. And it sets us up, indirectly, it can kind of trigger depression, right? From constantly looking over at what we think somebody else has, who's posing a certain kind of way in front of the camera. So these are lifestyle practices that you have access to, whatever your living situation. If you have enough room for a mat, you have enough room for daily therapy. And I move every day at 5 a.m. And we're moving every day this year. All right, so now I want to address, so like, comment respectfully, subscribe. There are lots of workouts on this channel. The warm-up that we do in the morning by itself is an intense daily movement practice. If you're interested in training with me on a regular basis, that's 5 a.m. Every day, Monday through Thursday. Fridays is a community class, which usually some form of capoeira and African dance and sculpting on Fridays. That's by the nation. On Sundays, we have group coaching, whole, fresh living, and unprocessed foods, and fitness as a lifestyle. So we really go into a lot of education on anatomy and understanding our physiology and our brain and our emotions, like the science of it, right? Delving into all of the numbers. So we do that on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So feel free to reach out to me, get on the mailing list if you're interested in the private coaching, because not everything will be here. All right, so I want to address Mindful Nicole's video, because she did tag me. And she said, if I was to get a BBL. Now, she was being a little facetious. Because I was like, excuse me, you want to get a BBL? Now, I'm not here, again, I'm nobody's judge, because I had a gold tooth right here with a heart in it, right, cemented on. And I had a nice, breezy, peasy Jerry curl, right? Because if we're honest, we follow and we mimic. We might not want to admit it, we follow and we mimic as a species. In the current climate, we're following people right off of a cliff, right? Taking really poor advice and instructions from a lot of these celebrities. In any event, Mindful Nicole was saying if she were to get a BBL. Now, she's a mom, not a single mom. She is a mom, and she has 2 children. And by the way, she has really lovely semi-freeform locks, that are not twisted. And, I like all kinds of hair stuff, but I'm not using any oil. I'm not twisting. I did curl these today, so the curls have dropped. This is like a nicer curl, or, it's interesting. It's a nice curl. Child, if I could have had this hair in my teens as a little girl, I would have been straight. I have no problems with dandruff. Like, I don't put any oil. It has a sheen, but of course, light reflects differently off of fine, pinky, tiny Afro textured hair, and I'm here for it. It's fantastic for exercise, for rainy walks, rolling all over the floor. I will admit, most of the time, I don't tie my hair up. I have made some silk pillow covers for my hair, but it's easy breezy. And especially at this phase of life, I'm not into turning myself inside out, making myself uncomfortable. That, to me, reeks of insecurity, and it will really deplete your pocketbook. All right, so let's get to Mindful Nicole. She lists some reasons why she would get a BBL. And she said, one, the first one, now, Mindful Nicole. Now, and you call me Auntie. Auntie said that first reason you gave made not one iota of sense, child. Not one iota, right? You said I would have more energy because it would look like I worked out. Hello, and you're extremely intelligent, and I know you're good with the budgeting and stuff too. That made no sense. That made no sense. You would have more energy because you look like you worked out. Now let's address this, right? Because I've seen in different BBL videos, in the comment section, many younger women justifying the procedure and even saying that it's natural. Okay, so because you're removing, context is everything. You're removing adipose tissue, fatty tissue, not lean mass. You're removing adipose tissue from your stomach, and you're moving it to another part of your body. Now, adipose tissue is not dynamically active tissue. It is actually waste. It is waste product. So you're surgically going to go underneath the knife, and I've had some malpractice lawyers, medical malpractice lawyers, as clients for years, right? And they've always said, Kwasa, don't ever do any elective surgery. And I'm like, you don't have to worry about me. So in any event, I'm going to remove waste from one area, from my stomach to my glutes. Now, I've mentioned before in the 5 a.m. workout, first of all, we don't do any exercise without a reason, right? Because if you're a mom or just even a busy modern woman, you're lucky if you have 20 minutes to an hour max a day for your movement practice, to exercise, to hit it and quit it. So we're going to be very efficient with the types of exercises that we're choosing. You only have so many hours in a day. We don't need to do every exercise. We're going to choose the ones that are the most appropriate and effective for the time that we have and for where our body is, right? So if I'm removing adipose tissue and fat and waste from one area to another area, and I'm going underneath the knife to do that, it's waste product. So let's say you move the fatty tissue, the adipose tissue from your midsection to your stomach. And let me not even say stomach. I love distinction. Your stomach is actually small, right? So a lot of times people are saying stomach, but the stomach, what they're really referring to is your midsection, right? Your midsection, the stomach is small. Look it up, Google, so you can see what the picture looks like. So you can actually see how small your stomach is. It can expand, but the stomach is small. So what you're really seeing is your stomach, or your midsection is coming out over your waistline. That's dangerous. That's that's the most dangerous place to have adipose tissue. In addition, it's dangerous to have it around your internal organs, right? It's very, very dangerous. It's called visceral fat. Subcutaneous fat is right underneath the skin, and then you have visceral fat wrapping like marbleization around the organs. Very, very dangerous. So if your midsection is filling out, that's a precursor for diabetes, heart disease, and high blood pressure. So that is a sign, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So that is waste product. Also consider that waste product, it doesn't have, well, when you're putting fat into another area of your body, with the nerve endings, right? So dynamically active tissue or muscle is what we want. Many people are not distinguishing when they say weight loss. They're not distinguishing. We don't want to lose muscle. We only want to have the body release adipose tissue. And basically, if you're eating more than you need, if you're eating highly processed foods, if you're not processing it yourself, you're eating in excess and you don't have muscle, well, there you go. It's going to sit right on your backside. And your backside, your glutes have a purpose. They need to fire, right? They need to be activated for you to run, sprint, and to get out of harm's way. So your glutes have a purpose. If I'm putting this into my glutes, with the nerve ending, right? So it can't, all this extra fluff, it doesn't have a purpose back there, and eventually, right, you'll have some produce left from the market, it's going to sag. So if I put this in the back, right? If I put this in the back and I just stick it inside my pants, it's common sense, right? And I invite you to tune into your own divine intelligence, your own divine onboard innate intelligence that each of us was born with. It's going to sag with gravity, period, right? Most of the times, if you're having implants, they will have to be replaced every 10 years. And these are elective surgeries. They're very actually invasive surgeries, right? Many people don't tell you about the scar tissue, right? From having your face pulled or your skin pulled tighter or having your breast augmented. There's a lot of scar tissue. And even some of my vanilla growth, how do I know? Because some of my clients have shown me. You get a lot of scar tissue. There's a lot of things that you're not seeing, that people are not telling you the whole story. And so why are we so trusting with following random people because we like their singing voice or we like their look or their hair? Why do we assume that they have good character? Why are we taking this random advice? It's actually dangerous. And a lot of these decisions to do permanent alterations to ourselves will have to live with the side effects, the consequences. I know of people personally that have had really botched jobs, and it's extremely traumatizing because to put these different things in your body is easier than trying to get them out. Sometimes almost impossible, extremely expensive, much more expensive than it was to put these things in. It's a lot harder to get the substances out. Again, you're actually aging, you're potentially aging yourself with putting these things in and taking them out. The scar tissue. That's not even talking about the inflammatory response of causing this unnecessary trauma to your body. But all you had to do was exercise. All you had to do is learn how to exercise effectively, consistently. That's all you had to do, which would increase your confidence, your self-confidence on its own. So anyway, Mindful Nicole, first thing she said, I would have more energy because I would look like I worked out. That doesn't make not 1 hour. You would actually have more energy if you enacted a consistent movement practice daily. Does your body look different just in one movement practice, one work? No, it doesn't. But I can tell you for a fact, in over 35 years, I have never, ever regretted one day of movement practice, one day of exercise. Never, ever, ever. My thoughts are extremely positive. My self-talk is distinctly, consistently, extremely positive, even though it's a very challenging movement or exercise or voice movement session. But I noticed that's a distinct pattern. It is a foundation of my esteem, how I feel about myself. I'm monitoring my thoughts during my workout. You're giving yourself your subconscious mind, which drives 95% of our behaviors, right? You're giving yourself evidence of your ability to push through what is uncomfortable. And that generates esteem that is independent actually of your looks. And that is so freeing. I wish more women knew. To me, it's like one of the biggest secrets, right? We're all our most attractive when we are healthy, right? So I don't have to do much, right? And I also look forward to enjoying my body temple as I mature, become more seasoned, as I age gracefully through the years. I don't know if this generation feels like they have anything to look forward to. And that's a travesty. That's such a shame. That's such a shame, right? If you start to get to the point you feel like you can't come on camera, and I get it, I get the makeup, maybe someday about playing with the makeup, but if you feel like you can't operate or live your life, if you see the natural light reflected off you, if you see your natural image, some people are aghast or horrified by what they really look like. That's a prison. That's a prison I have zero interest in. All right. So mindful Nicole, number 2. She said if she would get a BBL because it would get her more money. How much money? How long? Okay, let's keep it up. Let's keep it up this Saturday night, shall we? It is so saturated. This environment, it's like, and it just goes to show this is one woman's perspective, not necessarily the truth. I don't have the only perspective. But as a collective, we have become so cheapened, women in general. And again, I'm not a prude, and I can appreciate sensuality. Actually, I find that I feel more and more sensual as I mature. Different from sexy. Sensual is a type of confidence that comes with life experience, with knowing yourself, or like, I don't feel the need to shave my eyebrows, right? I don't need to. I like myself. I don't need to take up a whole bunch of makeup. I can also do that too and express, but just it's something that goes beyond words. Feeling confident in your skin, not going overboard to try to impress everybody, right? A confidence, not breaking your neck. I remember wearing some shoes that was so uncomfortable. Oh my gosh, I remember spending $200 for shoes that felt like I had little pit bulls biting my toes. I was like, why? I'm not doing that for anybody. I'm not going to make myself uncomfortable. Actually, I always have like a gym in my home, or a play area in my home and outside. I have my pull-up area I've built. I always have toys to play with, right? But this particular season, I decided to join my sister at the gym for one little piece of equipment because I'm doing a challenge. I always like to put myself with clients, so I give myself a new challenge. So the other day was it, I'm minding my BI bubble out business at the gym. And so this vanilla gentleman tried to pick me up, child. I was like, excuse me? Trying to pick me up. And I was just thinking, wow, this is so funny. Like, I'm not really trying to do anything. And it was a gentleman trying to pick me up. So I was like, go figure. I didn't well, it could have been a chocolate man, anyone. I have sometimes younger gentlemen who could be my son, trying to pick me up or trying to flirt. I think it's really just confidence. And then also at the same time, a lot of men will sleep with anybody. But I'm not open. I don't think I carry myself like that. But if people are attracted to how they are attracted to. But all I have to say, I don't feel like I have to do a lot. I feel confident, increasingly more confident in my own hair and nappy hair and my own skin. And I'm having a good time. And my own hair and my own skin. So it's not much I would have to do. So in terms of getting more money, we've kind of cheapened ourselves. Like the internet is saturated. Even I would say Facebook, I find a bit of an annoyance because there's this like the story feature. When you open up Facebook, some of the imagery, like a lot of it looks very one page, am I saying it in Latin properly? A lot of the pictures, and from grandmothers to women in 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, like it's so overdone. It just says desperation. A lot of times it's so random. It's not necessarily even in the context of yoga or fitness. It's like everybody putting it out there like to market themselves very cheaply on Facebook, and it's like, what kind of return are you even getting for your money? I would say also to young flowers in terms of following blindly the internet personalities, hard-earned wisdom. I don't think young women are taking into consideration, particularly to be men, but definitely I'll say as women, take into consideration the intangible cost of a lot of your decision making. So you might be able to make a couple of quick dollars, but those dollars go very quickly. You're spending it all in nails, which I just had a conversation. I didn't know that you could spend over $100 on lashes. I've heard $100, $50 to $100 on nails. I'm like, where are folks getting this money from? Like, give me the food, give me the fresh berries. I'll spend on food. But I can't see myself spending on nails or lashes. Not because I don't value those things. I value my health. I value travel. I value a peaceful garden. I love clothes and fashion, but I spent so much money on fashion that went in the garbage. I just my why is different. It's even a bit of a turn off. Again, I like beautiful things. I'm not paying for that. Now, I do like gifts. I do like to be gifted with nice things, but my priority is like really nice garden equipment. I'm really into soil, and I was just talking to a farmer because I love the market. So there's a couple of farmers that I want to have some dates with them and their family to go and have some experiences at their farm. Those are contentment experiences, right? How can I function? I don't know if I'd get invited to their farm if I had dragon nails, right? That's more fun. That's adventurous. There's someone that I was talking to that has a horse, right? And so I want to go have a photo shoot, with them by the river with their horse. That's fun. Let me throw one of my little cowboy hats or whatever with my boots and take my little Afro flower stuff over and have a photo shoot in the garden or with the horse. That's fun. That's excitement. Everybody's looking the same and doing the same. It's kind of boring. It's nothing unique, and I really love appreciating the uniqueness that each one of us has to offer. Now, back to Michael and Nicole, in terms of making a lot of money, the value has gone down so much. How much? I don't think you really make that much money, and for the cost, psychologically and emotionally, I would say I don't think that women. I do not think that we bounce back when we put ourselves in harm's way for people that don't really care about us, to put it simply, right? To open your sacred body to the unvetted, to mean people, to non-caring people, to people that are reckless with their reproductive organs. If somebody's reckless with their reproductive organs and they don't prioritize health, then what do you think they're going to do for you, if you put it quite simply? So when I see certain signs and symbols, right, because my eyes are retrained differently, when I see how people move, those are immediate disqualifiers, right? If somebody doesn't have protocol, manners, healthy boundaries, then I don't entertain them. Not on the internet or in person. It's not worth it, right? Because it's already shown me out the gate how they move, and so that's going to be a liability. That's going to cost me mentally and emotionally. And when you put yourself out there and deplete yourself mentally and emotionally, that affects your ability to create on your job or create whatever your creative stuff is. It affects your money. So when you do things that put you in harm's way mentally and emotionally, that has a tremendous cost. It compromises your ability to focus if you're studying or you're working on something. So you're saying you'll make more money, but it's at 5 cents, $5 for 5 months. How much money are you really making? It's like at this point, it's so much twerking and butt. It's like it's oversaturated. It's boring. It looks desperate. We're looking real crazy out here. And also, Michael Nicole, I was just because I'm going to the gym to use this piece of equipment so that I can work out right here, right? And there was a young woman at the gym the other day, and she had some augmentation done here in her butt. And this is just my thought, not. I think there's a difference between judgment in terms of uh, discernment and in terms of condemning somebody. But I can be honest, right? This is a stranger. It looks so crazy. My thought was like, we're looking crazy. We are looking crazy out here. I was like, where are this woman's friends? To be quite honest, it looks quite, and I've seen several instances, right, with rushing in the hopes that we'll do these augmentations and we'll get more attention. We may get attention. It's going to be a specific type of attention, but it's not the effect. It's not giving what it's supposed to have gave. As the saying goes, I hear now. It looks like folks are less confident than you think they would be when you're getting these procedures done, right? Because you're following people. You're hoping the results they're telling you or what you perceive they're getting. Error, gross error. This woman did not look confident in her skin. She didn't carry herself as confident. And it looked, the look, it looked so, what's the word? It looked so, it did such an unnatural. It looks so unnatural. Okay, so this is a different generation. There used to be a cartoon, right? And maybe it's my mother's generation. There was a cartoon called Bullwinkle, right? Look it up. Maybe you can find it if you Google Bullwinkle, right? And it looks kind of like a mortician, this little short guy. And they had these eyebrows that look so harsh, like penciled on. It looks so plasticky and fake. That's what it's giving. It's then the clothes are like overly tight. It's too much. It looks like plastic dolls. It looks like walking plastic dolls. And it looks so artificial. As a matter of fact, last Sunday, in one of my study groups with some women, we're researching looking at this video. I don't know, maybe perhaps you can Google it to find it. There's this app. This is really big in China. I don't know if I put the link in the community section. But there's a gentleman, this is a trend now, where you have some men that are posing as women and they have a filter on in China because there's such a huge there's extremely lopsided numbers in terms of the numbers of men and women. There's so many more men in China than women. And so it's actually a crisis. And so one of the ways they're dealing with it is off the chain is that men are flocking to these online personalities. And they have a tendency, little skews here, I can find some Japan too, but they have a tendency to like characters that feel very much like little girls. You know, you see that like kind of in Japanese anime, the voices of these guys, the little girls. So people are gravitating towards these characters. Anywho, one of the gentlemen that looks like a beautiful little schoolgirl forgot to put his filter on. Gag, man with a whole, what do you call it, 5 o'clock shadow. It's a dude. It was a dude. It was a dude. It was a dude. It was a dude. And it is very easy. Say, I'll be careful with this AI. I was trying to tell my sister, you think AI is a convenience. But catch yourself. Catch yourself. So you can put your voice through a filter, as you can see now on TikTok and so on. You can put your voice and have a little girl filter. And this man, he had a little, thumbed out top on his hair fix, but it was a dude in the face. And he forgot to turn his filter on. So some men were gagging. It's on the news. So I don't know. I might have put it. Sometimes I'll put a little something in the community section. I call it lessons in radical self-acceptance. So I think it's a bit saturated. If you're talking about you can make more money. That again is Mindful Nicole. That didn't make not one not order sense. So we're talking about this evening. I'm responding, call and response to a subscriber, Mindful Nicole. She was talking about, she won a contest here on Body Color, and one of my first contests. I gave away, I like to share some of my favorite things. So I made like an African print bicycle seat cover, which makes me so much happy because my bicycle looks cute. And I envision myself with my little French baskets, with my carrot tops hanging out of it, with my kitten hooks as I'm riding along my bicycle. So I had to make an African print bicycle seat cover. So Mindful Nicole and also Onya, those are the two ladies that won that particular contest. So by the way, Nicole, where is the bicycle? I'm looking for you to share a picture of the bicycle. That bicycle seat cover should not be sitting there. I want you to use it up until it's ripped and you can't use it anymore. It should be like your favorite bicycle seat cover, right? This is the season to get into action. All right, so let's see what her other reasons were. Why should we get a BBL? What was she saying? She said, it just says, what is it? Oh, too busy to work out. Do you know who you were talking to, Miss Nicole, Mademoiselle Nicole? You're too busy to work out. I don't know if you know who you were talking to. You're talking to someone, chef, flight attendant. Usually you have to like leave for 4 o'clock show for international flight. Personal trainer. I've had clients 4:30 in the morning. Usually every morning at 6. I usually get in yoga and cardio before clients. And I'm a mom too. That's why I'm big on creating a play area in your space, right? The goal is remove every excuse for you not to move. And if you can kind of organize in your brain, I invite you to consider, if you can organize in your brain your why, you think you don't have enough time, but when I tell you, You, even if you feel like you don't want to, you will generate energy from your movement practice. It generates energy in drugs, literally in your own body, that you feel empowered. You feel powerful. Your mood is like, my mood is on a super duper high, on fire from my movement practice, consistent for years. So you think you don't have time, but it's costing you more time in terms of energy and mood and inspiration. It's fighting timing. It's fine, it's not tired. And it has been times, honestly, every now and then, especially if you're entrepreneurial or the new ways that we're working, every now and then you're going to probably pull a long day and have less sleep. That's just reality every now and then, right? So I notice even if I'm tired or a little tired, and once I do my movement practice in the morning, I am literally more energized. So we usually think of fuel and food as fuel. Little discernment, little distinction between generating energy, right, and as well as the energy pathway system of tapping into your body's onboard fuel tank for energy, right? Which you all usually have a good amount, unless you're underweight, a good amount of extra energy that we can access as fuel for the workout. I'm just saying. So you don't have time for workout, you don't have time to not work out because of how it makes you feel. And in Sundays in our coaching sessions, we talk a lot about sarcopenia. Age 35 and up, we're starting to lose exponentially every year a dramatic amount of lean mass. Most people are talking about weight loss distinction. Most people are not making the distinction between these aggressive weight loss programs. You're losing muscle. You never, ever, 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 ever want to lose muscle because there's numerous reasons why women are struggling in terms of hormones, not understanding lean mass versus adipose tissue versus water retention. Not making those distinctions can lead to us being very frustrated and then giving up because we think we're not seeing results, right? You're doing the same old workout that you've been doing that you remember from high school. So a lot of times we're random and all over the place. And it does make like a big difference. So you don't have time to not work out. This is health insurance. Your movement practice and your leverage lifestyle practices are health insurance. Make no spouts about it. And then what else did you say? Oh, you said to get your body back before your baby. Now let me tell you a little something. I will never be in my 20s again, and that's okay, right? Because wisdom is hard earned. I will never be in my 20s, and that's okay. I'll never be in my 30s. I'll never be in my 40s, right? In this next season, I will be in my 60s, right? And that's okay. I'm intentional. I want to enjoy my time in my human suit. And so because I've been making consistent deposits, and whatever you are now, I encourage you immediately with quickness. I invite you to start making tangible, quantifiable. You can log it onto your calendar and also with your heart rate monitor. Reach out to me if you want to know my favorite heart rate monitor. Make tangible investment in the 401k of your body, aka get your movement on consistent now. There's really no excuse not to. There's so much information on YouTube. I would invite all of you, get a coach, pay your money. If you're cheap and you're looking for free stuff, you're not likely going to get lasting sustainable results. It is what it is. Most, clients that really are results oriented don't even trust free stuff. They don't even trust it's too cheap or too free. They don't want it, depending on the demographic you're getting with, right? And if you're getting free information, quite often it's not in the context, right? It's not in the context of usually not catered towards you and your individual needs. So I invite you, invest in your mental health, mental emotional health. Get a coach to shorten your learning curve and to practice to install some practices into your life in terms of communication skills, processing old trauma, so you can leave a lot of stuff behind, clear up a lot of space. Get a coach for your fitness. Stop playing games. Stop playing games. You're gonna pay. You'd be better off paying for the fitness than 20 more layers of makeup and spanks and things. And you're looking good from the neck up, the wrist down, and the ankle down. But black does crack on the inside, contrary to popular belief. We do crack on the inside, right? So get yourself some coaches when it comes to finances, right? And I had a fantastic, I'm gearing up for my next interview. I have several people lined up for my interview, for my podcast. So with the wealth, right? Practical wealth wherever you are. Your garden, get into your gardening, also for stress relief. Your movement practice, and what I'm calling peaceful consumption. I could give two peach pits about you're vegan, raw vegan, meat eating, carnivore, are you eating real food in the appropriate amount? Right? See, the desperation, right? The desperation is coming from really a lack of transparency and honesty with ourselves. You're eating more than you know you need to. If you're often not addressing the lack of fulfillment in your life, you're not doing anything creative, you're not pursuing your dreams, your artistic endeavors, you're not making time for these things, your subconscious knows that you're not addressing these things that you would really like to do. It causes depression when you stand your own self up for a date, right? And when you're not embarking on things. You got these nuts out here that will blow this sucker up, these narcissists that will blow the planet up. Are you going to let yourself go out of here without really pursuing the things that you want to get into? Right? Because if you're not fulfilled, then guess what? You're likely going to be overeating starch. If you're super angry and irritated, you're probably going to be eating a whole lot of greasy chips and fried foods. If you are lacking sweetness in your life, you're likely going to be binging on ice cream and milk. No sweetness, you're going to be eating a lot of candy, right? So there is, I would say, practical metaphysics, or to me, when I think of spirituality, it's actually very practical and very common sense. Our behaviors are very, very telling. Putting yourself, you're quiet, I can't see you on the screen, putting yourself in harm's way is very telling. So we're moving at such a pace. At what point do you slow down to spend time with yourself and to scan your thoughts, scan the ticker tape of thoughts and emotions that are driving your behavior, in addition to eating a whole lot of recreational food porn that is non-nutritive, it's anti-nutritive, right? It's got lots of crunch and flavor, but no nutrition in it. All the stress that we're under, being in constant fight or flight, where your B vitamins coming from? Your B vitamins are depleted in stress. So how are you replenishing that? So if you're only eating recreational fun foods and candies and all these treats like your little babies, right? They just want treats. It's no wonder we have diabetes. It's no wonder that people that have been on the receiving end of a lot of trauma, right? Post-traumatic stress disorder. And if you receive a lot of trauma, it makes sense that you would have diabetes if those things are not handled. So we're turning to the food as a form of self-soothing and self-medication, right? If you sit in a quiet moment, a lot of this stuff is revealed in how we're doing things, how we're looking to escape reality, right? And there's no shortage of people willing to tell you good things about your non-beneficial habits. Mindful Nicole, oh, there you are, Mindful Nicole. I just answered your video. I just answered your video. Hold on. Ujo, Wajed, greetings, Mindful Nicole. You're here. Let me read hold on. Let me open up my book. What is our book here? My daily mindful book. Mindful Nicole. So you said you would have more energy because you look like you worked out. You would look like you worked out. You were too sharp in playing them kind of mental games with yourself. No, that's bull crap. That made no sense. You would get more energy. Yeah. The energy is going to come from you doing the movement practice. That's how you're going to feel better. If you start out with 20 minutes of very purposeful, intentional movement is a game changer. If it's consistent, we don't need perfection. The consistency is everything. And then if you have only 20 minutes, then what do you choose to do during those 20 minutes? But if you commit to the 20 minutes, your mind is going to be on fire. Your ego is going to be resistant. Because the ego likes to stay the same because the same very comfortable, right? Eating junk food to your stomach is going to pop open like a stuffed rat. Actually, can read chemically as comfort because it's familiar, right? So the ego has a very twisted, I say it comes through the back door, has a very kind of twisted way of thinking. But we don't want to take counsel from the ego. It has a place. But if you're taking counsel from the ego, just remember the ego will take out the host, right? Too busy to work out and get the body back before kids. Probably not going to happen, right? But you can have a fantastic, but I have stretch marks. I have an outie belly button. It's mine. If your body was 300 pounds, it's your body. So in that sense of positivity, I'm going to sometimes say, I will not berate myself. I will not, that's what my mantra is. I will not berate myself. I will not put myself down. It's tempting for all of us, right? It's tempting. I'm human. I will not berate myself, right? If you have a child, wouldn't you encourage your child, if your child's learning how to swim or do a new skill or learning to walk? I will not berate myself or put myself down. Because current social media makes very light of our pain. And everything was a joke. I said to my sister, she would say so many things that funny. I'm like, that's not funny. She's like, you're sensitive. I'm like, am I sensitive or are you numb? Right? So a lot of the self-deprecating, sarcasm. I don't really care for sarcasm because it has like a undertone. So if you make light of putting yourself down and joking about yourself, right? Then your children pick up that. We become really desensitized to each other's pain. Actually, I think in one of the not I think in one of the recent videos, in one of the shorts, right? So sometimes I can't catch with the phone. I think I'm putting one cover on there and it just doesn't come out right. But in any event, one of the recent videos I shared about there's an artist on YouTube. Her name is Alicia Venice. Chef's Kiss. She does affirmations for Black women unapologetically, though I think anyone can benefit from her videos. And I'm into mantras and chanting. I'm deeply affected. Music deeply affects my mood. It can affect how you're spending. It can catapult you out of stinking thinking, or it can take you into depression, or have you doing some stuff you don't have no business doing. That's the power of words used over and over in certain tones and incantations over and over. Music and food will control people. Right? So in any event, there's one I'm calling it a mantra. She calls it an affirmation. And so many affirmations. Which the one? She has this. Oh, sensitive. It's called sensitive. It's an affirmation for women who are sensitive, and it goes. Thank you. These are curls. Like you can do these with pipe cleaners, but just with some water. I just washed it, which I haven't been doing often because it doesn't approve a whole lot of stuff because I don't put anything in it. But in any event, the mantra, Alicia Venice's mantra, you don't need better friends. You don't need better friends. Wait. You don't need thicker skin. You just need better friends. Yes. Your feelings are relevant, and they should matter to them. There's nothing wrong with sensitive. It's not a flaw, it is a strength. All right. Anyway, y'all gotta go check it out. She is just it really takes something to I think it takes a lot of courage to step into what your calling is and then to support yourself off it. That is no joke. Right? And it's nothing wrong. Some people have traditional jobs. I don't know if any job is really traditional, but to really make a career out of your life's purpose and for it to really be meaningful. Just the fact that, again, her content can benefit anyone, but she unapologetically makes affirmations for Black women, and on her channel, it's Alicia, Alecia, Venice, Renece. She makes content. It talks a lot. She challenges and expands the discussion of Black excellence and how we burn ourselves out and how Black excellence can come through the back door and can be a scam where we're really holding ourselves to these standards of excellence and burning ourselves out. Now, I know what that's like as a young woman. I remember, I don't know how I was doing. I was in school, in college, and I had my little baby, and I'm apprenticing at an African dance company, and I'm working on Wall Street. How was I doing all of that? But I do remember times I was just so sleepy. I was so tired that, they would say, I have to drop C, right? Because I could drop off. I could be talking to you and fall asleep in the middle of a sentence. I was thinking, like, this is not fun. And I want to be awake to spend time with my child. I want to be present when they're asking me, when my son's asking me questions, or if I'm making a pie or something. I don't be falling asleep during every activity because I was like, I'm paying all this money, I'm running helter skelter, but I'm not really present. So I'm not really feeling that. So I find that her music and her affirmations and even her talks on her channel address a lot of that. So please consider giving her channel a subscribe. Why don't subscribe? Because it's quality food. It's what you're taking in, what you're listening to is deeply affecting you. Munching all the time, eating mindlessly, self-sabotaging behavior. If you're putting your reproductive organs and your kidney, your heart, your liver, your colons in harm's way, if you have actions in acting or participate in acting that put in your harm's way, that's a mindset. That's a mindset that has a cost. So we hear all these buzzwords thrown around like deprogramming or reprogramming, or I would like to say conditioning. What you're listening to is so critical. So it's like good quality organic food that you grow in your own garden. That's how I would consider for content. Just super duper excellent, excellent. Something wonderful to have in your ear during your commute. I know when I was raising my son, I was very particular about the songs and the sounds that I had on. That I was intentional about wanting him to grow up on soul music and the different types of lyrics that he was listening to. I wanted him to have lyrics that, because I know he'll start singing. He's like, "Mommy, why you play that song all the time?" Then I would hear him singing certain songs, right? So we, as a species, we mimic and we repeat, and we're affected by what we're listening to, modeling. And you know, some of the artists out right now, I never thought I would have to say this, but I'm sorry, it's trash. Maybe that sounds harsh, but it's trash. It's not, or what's another way to say, a more effective way of saying it? It's non-beneficial. It is negative nutrition music. It's negative nutrition. It's nothing I would want to model. It's nothing I feel proud of. It's nothing I would want to aspire to be, the male or the female. It's nothing. It's every athlete or top artist now. It's like they can't come up with anything more original than just everybody has their own alcohol. Like who benefits from that? It's just like I know we're not dumb, perhaps traumatized, perhaps desensitized, but it's really our responsibility to choose better. The only ones that can have a vested interest in your transformation is you in the mirror, male or female, because I know I do have male presence. I'm on the channel and I gave birth to a son, right? I gave birth to a son. So boys, girls, I also have adopted. I have adopted. I'm a community mom and auntie to others, and we populate the planet. We got to think this. Moving forward, are we going to continue to set these young people, these young humans, up for failure by not choosing properly or intentionally who we're going to be a steward with? If somebody's really interested in being a parent, if they're not interested, what are you doing? You're playing Russian roulette with somebody else's lives. And wonder why we have all these narcissists walking around. So, as Grandma Lou would say, stay busy, stay out of trouble, right? In the garden, with your movement practice, making beautiful food for yourself. That can take up a lot of time. Then we can add some travel, some other experiences. And those are things you have access to, right? Community. Again, another word that's thrown around loosely. So I would definitely say I like to come together around activities, specific activities. And that usually being anything having to do with the garden, fruits and vegetables, um, and movement. And I'm adding wealth to the fantastic uh, webinar, seminar. Actually, it was live. It was a live webinar, seminar today on wealth. It was so comprehensive. So I'm looking forward to sharing this woman, and she came across through having a really, really good quality circle of influence and accountability partners. I'm telling you, get you some. Get you some. Now, if you was a drug addict and your homie's a drug addict, I wouldn't count on my homie that's a drug addict to write me a fitness plan. If we're both in the same place, I'm usually looking for somebody that's better than me in certain areas, right? So if you're the smartest person in the room, how are you growing? If the same conversation is circulating back and forth, there's no new information coming in. How are you growing, right? So it is a good thing to be uncomfortable and not to know everything and not to be the smartest person in the room. So finances, I'm adding to that too. So I'm definitely going to be sharing this resource. It's so practical. It's so practical, so comprehensive, so useful. I was like, yes, this is so valuable. It's just how I felt about fitness. It's like having a fitness coach, but for wealth. And it is, I think, very important for us to think of our security. My godmother said something to me very years ago that threw me for a loop. I talk about my godparents and my grandma Lou a lot. I'm really grateful. And she said to me decades ago, she said, not all of you will get married. When people get married, they don't stay married, right? Whatever your partnerships are, I think it's very important for us to think of our futures, right? When you're going to get older, then you get sick sometimes. And who do you have in your circle? So that's what following all these housewives shows and all this fighting is. How does it benefit us if you never seek to look at what does it look like, healthy relationships. Do you have relationships? I remember I had a homie that called me once and said, if anything ever happens to me, would you sign this or that for my will? This was decades ago. And I was like, sure, you got it. As a homie, who would I give my keys to? Who could I count on, when I transition out of here? Don't stick a whole bunch of makeup on me and stick a palm head weave on my head and say, I accept Jesus Christ as my personal savior, because that would not be me. Put on some Stevie Wonder, some Afro house beats, some fruits and vegetables, and have a party and plant me as compost near a tree. That would be me. That would be me. The other stuff, that's not me. So I'm not doing that even for my mother. What is your circle of influence at? Who are the 5 people that you're spending the most time with? Are you circulating the same tired information back and forth? There's nothing new. Are you being challenged, right? So the fitness, the peaceful consumption, your garden/nature therapy, and your finances. If you perhaps are single, or if you are no longer in a relationship, or even if you're in a relationship, things happen. What if, you and your partner, and I talk about this a lot with my folks that I train with. What if something happens to your partner? Some people lost their partners. What are you going to do? What are you going to do the next year? What do you need your body to do for the next 6 months, the next year? What if you get into an accident? I got hit by a car. I've never gotten hit by a car. I got hit by a car not that long ago. And I'm so grateful for having worked out. Even my sister was like, ooh, good thing you work out, because it helped me to recover. Right? That was actually pretty scary. I've had several little incidents. I never had issues before. And to know how to rehab myself, work around, if you don't, you're going to be a sitting duck. Can you run, jump, take punch? I don't have to be a martial artist, but can you defend yourself? Can you run? Come on. Let's go. You can't run. I don't give 2 cookies. Can you fight? Can you fight? You got my back? Are you throwing me under the bus for your man? Then we can't be friends. Are you offering me stuff that's going to take my health out of here? Then are you really my friend? Where's your circle of influence? I don't know about you, but that is critical. I've paid to be in certain influence or certain circles, especially if I realized the people around me weren't interested in health or fitness or finance. I was like, what do I need to do? Because that's the kind of new information I want in. So if you're not investing in yourself, you stay the same. This is not that season. You said, yeah, you did say that it didn't make sense. Michael and Nicole. So it was a cute video, but I said, let me come on here this Saturday night and just respond to a little video. So take that bicycle seat cover. I want to see a photo of you on a bicycle. You got to take a spin class, a Peloton, I don't know, recycle, get a used bicycle at a yard sale. Get in when you fit in, because I've bought numerous used bicycles that have served me for years. If you're looking for excuses to do something, you'll find them. And consider, we need it. To me, it's not optional. I need my therapy. I need my movement. For me to feel really, really good. That's a non-negotiable. I need it. I need sunshine on the daily. I need fresh food. Period. I'm not eating nothing. I'm not eating anything out of the can. I'm not doing that. I'm not eating trash. The gentleman that invited me out the other night, I'm thinking like, call me hoity-toity. I don't have to go to the most expensive restaurant, but I don't eat trash. I'm not doing it for Jesus. I'm not doing it for my mother. I'm not doing it for anybody. I'm not eat trash. I don't eat trash. I care about my body, so I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm not doing that to impress anybody. Only you can say what the standards are that you set for yourself, right? Are you going to be able to enjoy your hair and skin in your 50s and your 60s? Will you be able to recover if you have a fall? Our quality of life goes down when we have falls. This is not a joke. Are you investing in yourself? If you're not investing in yourself, I don't know what to tell you. Are you and your hubby going to be pushing each other around in a wheelchair on the cruise? Or is either one of you going to be holding each other back? And I got to say, I think it's very unfair and it's very selfish to not take care of your health, and then your children have to pick up the slack, right? Get some therapy. Get you a therapist. Get you a coach, a fitness coach. Get you a financial coach. Invest in yourself, right? All the money you spend on lashes and nails, just keep it a buck. Keep it a buck. Then you can afford these things, right? Or how can you afford? What can you cut that's non-necessary, that you're not going to miss? What can you cut so you can have the things that really add value to your life? Those are the kind of conversations that I'm interested in. Is it beneficial? It's either an asset or a liability. An asset conversation or a liability. Is somebody carrying their own weight? I got to carry my own weight, right? It's my responsibility. Anyway, I thought I would check in, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. Thank you for shouting me out in the video. Mindful Nicole, Ujo Wajet, send you positive vibrations. As always, Carolyn Shepherd, respect the truth. I'm sending you warm, positive vibrations. With the men folks that come on here, anyone, I respect in advance. I thank you for your respect. I really respond to healthy boundaries and reciprocity. 'Tis the season to ask for what you want, all else. Yes, yes, yes. So I invite you to like, comment, respectfully, subscribe, come along to the journey. Body-Culinary, you get to decide how your life goes. You get to say what you can take off the table because it's just not a priority. And let me also emphasize that creating a sweet life for yourself, right? Some people may think, are like turn up their nose at discipline, but discipline is actually a lot of freedom. Getting up early in the morning is absolutely catch the sunrise and the birds is the absolute joy. A movement practice is a joy. Having a tongue that can taste um, beautiful fruits, right? So it's not adulterated by MSG and Doritos and cigarettes. That's a joy. To not have to be worried about my hair anymore is a joy. It's so many things you can take off the table so you can make room for what will really add value to your life. If somebody is reckless with their reproductive organs, it's the question, one of my litmus tests, are you placing yourself in harm's way? Are you doing that to yourself? Are you eating things that you know, not me, that you know are compromising your health? Then you sometimes ask, why am I doing that to myself? Right? This is not a culture that is encourages self-reflection. It's not, and we're moving too fast. We're moving too fast, almost like dumbed down farm animals. Anyway, I hope that you have a really deep rest so your body can go in and regenerate and suck up all the nutrition from the foods that you're eating. So that your nervous system can reset and you have sweet, creative dreams so that you wake up in the morning refreshed and ready to take on a new day with a playful attitude, with some purpose. So have a good day. I'll see you soon. Like, comment, respectfully, and subscribe on my TikTok, Instagram, and see you soon.